Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the Football League Hub podcast. Today, I have with me Chris, who is going to be giving us all the latest info on the upcoming January transfer window.
Hi guys. So just you know who I am. It's Chris. We're going to talk about all the latest transfers, and obviously the winter window is now coming up. So there's going to be some interesting stories towards the back end of 2020, and we'll see what kind of transfers are going to happen during the winter window. And I think there's a lot of clubs are going to be active. So we'll talk a few transfers that I know that are already on the cards, and potentially some rumours throughout this podcast. So hopefully you enjoy.
Yeah. So let's get straight into the transfers. It's going to be a weird transfer window, isn't it? I mean, I don't think,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, a lot of
it is.
clubs need money and a lot of clubs don't have money. So I really don't know how it's going to go. But on a personal point of view, I think we are going to see a lot of weird deals in this window.
I think what you're going to see is, and from what I know early on, is that you're probably going to see a lot of loan deals as opposed to big transfer deals. Ones where they cover you to the rest of the season for positions that you actually want to strengthen with a bigger quality players. So I think we're going to see more loan deals as opposed to what we've seen in the past in the winter window when we've seen people like Bruno Fernandes go to Manchester United or Aubameyang go to Arsenal in those windows. I don't necessarily think we're going to see those big deals. I mean, there might be a deal there to be made, which we'll talk about later on, but the loan deals seem to be the most viable option from what I'm hearing at the moment.
Yeah. So let's go straight into Manchester United, and the player who's been trending for Manchester United is the Ecuadorian midfielder Moises Caicedo. It's
Mhm.
looking like that deal is going to go through. Do you have anything to give us?
Manchester United are in pole position to sign that player for a reasonable fee. He's a 19-year-old kid. But he's got a lot of fantastic qualities in him, as you can see. And the thing at the moment with that one at the moment is he's actually on hold. So it's not. It's just United are in pole position to sign that player. So if Ollie just says yes, then the deal will go through. And what we're seeing is there's a lot of young players now want to go to Manchester United because of the style of play that they're trying to play through, and you can see what they're trying to achieve. So I would say that's really likely, that deal. But the thing is, it's one that's on hold, and I think because Manchester United know that the agent and the player are more interested in Manchester United as opposed to any other club, that they feel that they can just wait a little bit on that one. So it will be done. It's just when it's going to be done. It's not going to be 1st of January. It could happen at any point, to be honest, Fred, on that one.
Yeah. How much do you think the fee is going to be? I heard about £5 million.
Yeah, it's 5 to 7 million max. It's a kid that nobody knew before, unless you were inside any of the football clubs, knew before outside of that. So it's not going to be a big transfer fee because it's a very young player from a different league. But it does look like he's got a lot of good qualities. It's one of them again that I think they're going to put in the under 23s to get some experience. And I know he will get some first team football. But I did hear a story where the player was demanding certain amount of minutes. That's not true. So um, let's see with Manchester United if they pull the trigger or not. It's likely they will. Um, but I would say that deal's incredibly likely. And if I was Manchester United fans, I wouldn't worry too much about that deal because it's not going to impact the rest of the year. So it looks likely though.
Yeah, as a Manchester United fan, I mean, he looks like very exciting prospect. So hopefully the deal goes
Yeah,
through and
you've
we
got a
can
lot
get
of
him.
exciting prospects coming up anyway. So they're in a good place in terms of their youth system. They've got a lot of quality players coming through. So it's an exciting time, for Manchester United. So I can't see them not. They're in pole position. They just need to pull the trigger. So they're comfortable with that deal.
Yeah. Okay, so moving away from Manchester United, I mean, a day ago, we tweeted on our official Twitter account, which, by the way, would be in the link in the description. So you can go on there and give us a follow. You tweeted that Barcelona may offer Usman Dembele a new contract.
Yeah,
And I mean, a few
it's an
months ago,
interesting turn of events, I know.
yeah,
It's a few months ago he was looking like he was going to leave to Manchester United
yeah,
because Barcelona wanted to pay, which they're probably still going to get, to be honest, because he's 5 million. So a lot of clubs are going to be after him, but I see him going to Barcelona. Um, with Dembele, is he's starting to perform in a good level that Koeman's quite liking in the system. So, and he wants to stay at the club, so they could offer some form of extension, and he could still leave even with that extension. So it's one of them. But Dembele is starting to perform a little bit better for Barcelona. He's starting to score a few goals and be a little bit important. So, and Barcelona are still quite fond of them and quite high up. So again, it can depend on the president elections and those sort of things if they still want to keep him in the club. But Manchester United won't be looking at Dembele unless the Sancho deal completely collapses, of course. Then that's the second option. So Dembele looks like he's still got a future at Barcelona, which is strange to say a few months ago, but this is how it works sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Usman Dembele is a fantastic talent. He's got a bit of an injury problem, but obviously that's not his fault. I just wish he could be successful wherever he goes to be honest.
Yeah, it was very close to Manchester United for him to come to the club. It's, last. I just think it's the same. It's a similar sort of scenario with Grealish. Is that target was then there to be had last summer, not now. So they might still go for him as a loan, but I can't see that because Barcelona don't have a lot of money, so they still need to have those certain players. And obviously, with Messi likely to leave, Dembele might become a little bit more important for the club. So that one looks likely that he might sign a new contract. But that again might change. So take that with a pinch of salt. It might be that Koeman might turn around and say, "Well, I've got Memphis Depay now, so I don't need you." So it's one of them. We'll see. But it's more likely that he will sign it as opposed to what it was looking like a few months ago.
Yeah, so staying in Spain. I mean, over the past few days, we've heard rumors that Isco is on his way to Arsenal. Is there any
Yeah,
truth
that
in that?
that's early talks. I don't necessarily say that that's 100% true at this point in time. So I wouldn't get too excited about it. The only thing I would suggest is that Arsenal do have quite good communication with Real Madrid. So they've already got someone on loan. So it's potential, and I can understand where that's coming from in the sense that Arsenal don't have that play. Well, they do, but he doesn't play. But they have that playmaker that Isco could probably unlock, and he is a quite talented player. It's just Real Madrid doesn't fit the system anymore with Zidane. But it could happen with Arsenal, but it won't be a transfer. It'd be a loan, and that could be quite a good loan for Arteta. And there's a lot of Spanish links at the Arsenal club, so it would be more likely he would go to Arsenal as opposed to any other club in the Premier League. So I can see where those rumours are coming from, and I can see that deal happening. I just think it's too early to say that it's definite in that sense for Isco. But he's a
Yes, so
talented player.
yeah, he is a talented player. I mean, I would love to see him in the Premier League, just like James Rodriguez in the summer.
Yeah,
Fantastic players.
it reminds me of a David Silva a little bit. How he floats around in the on the pitch. So Arsenal need that kind of player, and Arteta would be definitely be looking at the La Liga in January in the summer because he would know what type of player he's looking for, and he wants to play the similar sort of style as what Pep does. He just doesn't have the players to do that at the moment. So I can see why Arteta is looking in the Isco direction.
Yeah. Staying in Spain, the former Atletico Madrid striker, Diego
Hmm.
Costa, he got released by Atletico Madrid 2 days ago. Wasn't shocking, but again, links to England, links to Arsenal. Looks like Arsenal are
Yes,
looking to
I mean,
do a lot of business in January. Do you think?
yeah.
there's a
I
chance
think
in that.
Arsenal are looking at I think that Arsenal are looking at loan deals, Fred. So Diego Costa might be a sense that he goes to China, but he gets a 6 month loan with Arsenal, or he goes to a different club. But Diego Costa, he's a very, I mean, he's not the player he was, but he's a warrior and he knows the Premier League. So it might be one of those things that helps Aubameyang because Aubameyang's just not performing at the moment. So I can understand why Arsenal are being linked to those types of players because they're quite toothless up front. They have a lot of possession, but they're not critical with their chances. So I can see why they would want Costa maybe as a stopgap before they look for, because I know they'll be looking for a new striker in the summer, and I can see why they're going to be linked with Isco and Diego Costa because I feel like they probably know that they're going to get a good connection out of those two players. So I can see that one of those deals would likely happen, and Diego Costa would be welcome back in the Premier League. He's quite a good player. It's underrated a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think it's not going to be a permanent contract. It would either be a 6 month deal or 1 year deal potentially.
Okay, yeah. I would love to see Diego Costa back in the Premier League, but I would love to see him at United because I think we do need that sort of competition
I
up
think
front.
that, yeah, I don't. It's not. Well, yeah, I get where you're coming from. It just won't happen at Manchester United. They're looking at alternatives, as you said. So, and they've already got Cavani, so
Yeah.
they're not going to look at Diego Costa. I think Arsenal or Spurs might even potentially look at it, but I don't. I see Arsenal being likely to get him in the sense that they're looking at a striker in the January sales, but I don't think it's going to be a permanent deal, like a long term deal. I mean,
Yeah. A couple of days ago, Thomas Tuchel got sacked by PSG.
yeah,
Um, well, although it's not official, yeah, we do know that Mauricio Pochettino is going to be taken over him.
yeah, yeah,
A man that was heavily linked to United just over 2 months ago. How things have changed massively.
yeah. Well, and this is the thing, and I'll talk to you now about Poch and what I think's happened and what the whole scenario of how that looks. So, first thing is that Poch in 2016 always wanted to manage. He said it in an interview that he wanted to manage PSG, and because he's played with them before, so that's understandable. So the good thing for Poch is this move makes sense for him because one, he's going to win trophies at that club, so he's going to get that experience behind him. Two, he's going to have unlimited amount of money, and he's got some of the best players at the club. So that's a good start for him. And the second thing is that actually for Manchester United is that Ollie has started to get results. So it would be hard for them to get rid of Ollie. And I talked about this in the last podcast that you have to give him the season before you could look at Poch. And obviously, and I said this in the podcast that if for whatever reason Manchester United did get rid of Ollie at the end of the season, then Poch would come in. But I think that the United are looking to still back Ollie, and that's why that's fallen to the wayside. And I agree with what United are doing because I can see the style of play that Ollie's playing. So that's good for Manchester United. For Poch, it's also good because he might stay. The way I look at it is he'll stay at PSG, let's say 3 or 4 years. He could win in the Champions League, but he's going to win trophies. And I think at that point, he might be ready to go to Manchester United afterwards. So that I can understand where that circle's coming from. And I can understand why Poch might go for PSG as opposed to wait for the Manchester United job because he's going to get a lot of trophies straight away because everyone knows that the PSG are going to win the league. There's no competition there. So, and they're going to win trophies, and that's going to help him and be a little bit more hungry, and he's going to have that success behind him, and he's already managed, on a low budget, and he's going to get high budget. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with that club and who he brings in. And I will talk about some of the transfers that PSG might do later on when we talk about the Premier League ones. Is that when he goes there and he gets all those trophies, he'll be ready for the Manchester United job, and that's how I see his progression. So he'll go to PSG, and then he'll, after Ollie's done all his fantastic work at Manchester United, he will then go, okay, I'm ready for the Manchester United job now. And that's me just understand where the path's going, and it's a reasonable path to say. I'm not saying he's going to be the man Manchester United in 4 years' time. I just think this is going to help him, PSG, more than being a Manchester United manager now. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. PSG, he's gonna win a lot of trophies. To be honest, I think even I would win a lot of trophies if I was a PSG manager. But yeah,
We're not on Football Manager now, but that's fine. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the right choice for Poch to do, and I knew this last week. I mean, the news broke that he was going. I knew straight away that the PSG would go for Poch. It was the right thing for them to do because he's took Spurs to a Champions League final. He's got Spurs to a top four, and he's got them, some quality signings. So he's done a lot of stuff for Spurs, and he's shown it with other clubs like Southampton. He's done all of that. Now he's going to get a bigger budget, which will be interesting to see how he manages players like Neymar and Mbappe, because then that's going to help him when he goes to a bigger job, because it is a bigger job. And I know PSG have got a lot of big players, but when he goes to Manchester United, he will have that confidence to handle bigger players at the club. So I can understand why he's done that, and then straight away I knew PSG were going to get Poch, and it's as planned, really.
yeah. And a couple of days ago, well, just right after the breaking news that Tuchel had been sacked, you posted on our Twitter account, which will be in the description, that Arteta is possibly on the ropes, on the tightrope, with
Oh yeah,
Thomas Tuchel being available. Is
oh
that
yeah, he still is. I mean, Edu came out and said that they back him, and you always do. And that Woodward came out and said he backed Mourinho, and he sacked him a month later. So you can't take those things with a pinch of salt. And the good thing for Arsenal is they've got easy games now, and they beat Chelsea quite easy. So he's in a good position. So at the moment, Arteta is still at Arsenal, and it's the same thing as they might give him the time. It's just that when you've got managers like Thomas Tuchel who don't have a club, you're going to have to start performing because he wants to move to the Premier League. And if Arteta's won 2 games, don't get me wrong, that's fantastic for Arsenal. I still don't think they're in a good place, in my opinion. So yes, you beat Chelsea. Yes, you beat Brighton, but they need to sustain that sort of pressure. I just don't see. I can't understand where their style of play at the moment. I just think that they might give Arteta a little bit more time, and they'll assess it at the end of the season the way they will assess Holly at the end of the season for Manchester United. So let's see. And his job's constantly getting reviewed, but if you go 5 or 6 defeats in a row and you're an Arsenal manager of a football club that's got that heritage, no one can tell you, not the board. They can't just tell you, oh, we back the manager. It's nonsense. So I don't believe the comments to say that you constantly, he's safe or we're looking at the plans in January. That's fine. You can do all of that. But if you're suddenly still 15th in the league at the end of the season, are you still going to back that manager? And that's he's got to bring in results and he's got to sustain them. He's got to go on a winning run. So he's got to win the next few games to keep his job to the end of the season at the very least. I still don't understand Arsenal's style of play, though, in my opinion.
well, in my opinion, I think Arteta is a good manager, but as you said earlier, I think he just doesn't have the players to do it because they keep a
Yeah,
lot of the possession,
yeah,
but
that's what I
there's
said.
no creativity.
But
Yeah,
this goes back to Fred. This goes back to why they're looking at Isco and Diego Costa, because they need that creativity. And I fully understand, and I back you that Pep wouldn't call Arteta a good manager if he didn't believe it. So I get that. It's just that I think some of his tactics have been quite bizarre with the players he's got. He needs to understand how to adapt into certain environments. So, he's not going to be able to play the football that Pep tries to play at Man City because he doesn't have those players. So he needs to look at other ways of saying, how are we going to win this game? He needs to be a little bit more like that. And it might come in time. And this is why Arsenal are looking at Isco and looking at Diego Costa, because one, Isco has got the skill and the jazz on the pitch, and he can unlock defenses and do some ridiculous stuff. And then Diego Costa can ruffle the defense up a little bit and be a little bit strong. And that is why I understand that we might need to give Arteta a little bit more time to see what he does with them. I just don't get what he's doing at the moment at the club. And a lot of fans that I've spoken to at Arsenal still don't understand his football. And it's because, and you're absolutely right, is that he doesn't have the players to do it. His midfield, I wouldn't even consider his midfield in the top 8 Premier League clubs. So there is an issue there, and I get it, but I still don't understand why he's trying to play the way he is. He has to adapt, and you can see that in the last 2 games that he's trying to adapt the football. So we'll see what happens at the end of the season with Arteta. But I'm still not convinced with it, Fred, to be honest, the way it is at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Arteta, Ole, Frank Lampard, Pirlo, there are so many managers who will possibly be reviewed at the end of the season. And
yeah,
it's good to see ex-pros in the biz still, but
yeah,
honestly, some of them are just not good enough. So
I think that I actually and you know I look at results. I'm a results person, so from a club's perspective, at the moment, Ollie's probably doing the best out of all of them in the sense of what the results he's getting, because some of the results that he's getting away is quite impressive, and some of the football he's playing is fantastic. So, for me, he's the safest out of all of them. So, because Manchester United should be getting top 4 easy this season, without a pinch of salt. But the players they've got and the way that they play in football, they should be challenging for the top 3 at least. And that's from my opinion is that they're closest they've ever been to the top since Ferguson's left. So that's not by default. So the Ollie thing is that Ollie has to take we have to consider some credit for him. It's just that you have to see what happens towards the end of the season. It's too early for me to say, oh, this is a fantastic season. We will have to wait and see. And it's the same thing for Juventus. At the moment, Pirlo doesn't have the players that he wants in the midfield. So we have to give them time. And it's the same thing for Arteta. The unfortunate thing for Lampard is he was given 200 million plus in the summer. Now, I've told people this before, that with Frank Lampard and Chelsea, and just because you've given him 200 million pounds doesn't mean he's going to win the league. So, some of the players he bought, I actually thought that that was pointless to buy. So I don't think they need Havertz and those sort of players. So I think Havertz made the wrong move. He should have gone somewhere else, and I think it's going to hinder him slightly. And Chelsea look like they're going to rely a lot on Ziyech. So they're in a difficult situation. I think Lampard's the most at risk because the owner, Chelsea owner, he pulled the trigger at any point. So, and he might look at Tunchel and say, actually, I want that manager. So you got to remember that as well. Is that he's more at risk than any other manager, and because I don't quite understand what Lampard's trying to do at the football club at the moment. I think the job is a little bit too big for him again, and I say that. But let's see till the end of the season. But for me, Chelsea are struggling at the moment more than anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, let's just get back into transfers a second. Staying in England, Manchester United. I mean, who do you reckon, or what do you think the possible deals are for Manchester United in January?
I mean, the honest truth is, at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a quiet winter window for Manchester United, unless the right deal comes on. So, they'll look at a centre back. They'll put all their heart and soul in looking for a centre back for this winter window because they need a centre back. We know they need a centre back. So, I think they're going to try and push hard for that. Alaba is still on the cards at the moment, so he's still possible to go to Juventus, but he could still go to Manchester United. Upamecano is a potential again, but these are potential players, and United need to sell a couple of centre backs before they can buy one. But there's a clear indication on this is that, and I stick by this, is that actually Bailly is probably your best defender. In the sense of his pitch awareness and his pace. So, and he covered Maguire's back in the Wolves game, as you could probably agree with me. But he's injury prone, so they can't rely too much on him. So they do need
Yeah.
that type of centre back that he delivers. But I'm just, I still can't get past that Manchester United paid £80 million for Maguire. So I know it's a harsh thing for me, but he's not an £80 million defender, and we've clearly realised that since he's been at Manchester United. Don't get me wrong; he's had some fantastic games, and I think he's got good player. He's got good player qualities, but I don't think he's the actual leader of Manchester United. But I still think they need a defender to cover up some of his issues.
Yeah.
And he's got some good qualities, so they won't sell him. He will be at United for a long time. But they need someone like Bailly that comes in to do that, but Bailly's too injury prone, and that's the problem. So you could have Upamecano or Pau Torres that they're still looking at Pau Torres, but I still think he's going to go to Barcelona or Real Madrid because that's what they do. But he could still go there. But I know United are looking at a centre back because I don't, the strikers in some games haven't been clinical, but I think they've got enough power up front to get them through the season. It's the defence is the problem. You saw that in the Leicester game where Jamie Vardy was left free in the box and Maguire was just looking at him. So that's the problem with Manchester United, is that the defence is the issue. So I can see them trying quite hard to get a centre back, and they might pull the trigger for Upamecano. I've heard that it's possible that they will pull the trigger in the winter window as opposed to wait until the summer with that one, because that is quite critical. It just relies on a couple of sales, but they can't rely on Maguire to get them through to challenge Liverpool for the title. It just won't happen.
But with Upamecano, I mean, he has a strong demands for Champions League football. It just occurs to me, would he come back to the Europa League, or would he drop down to the Europa League when he knows he could play Champions League football for extra months?
I think what you got, Fred, is that with Manchester United, we can see that they're starting to peak in terms of where, in a season or two, I think they're going to start challenging for the league properly. So players are starting to notice that, and you're starting to see a lot of youth players as well come to the club, which before, if we're honest, they were going to Dortmund or they were going somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to be a problem for him because he has desires to play in the Premier League. So, and Manchester United should be qualifying for the Champions League this year. Otherwise, Ollie hasn't done his job. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
With the players he's got, there's no excuses for that. So no fan can tell me otherwise. That has to be the minimal target. So, Sancho is expected deal in the summer. That's expected. That's 100% expected. You can't. There's no other club. It's Manchester United for Sancho. That's it. So, but Upamecano, that deal is there for Manchester United to be done. The only issue they've got is Bayern Munich, as I said, that he's played in the Bundesliga for a while now. The pivotal, the high level of that for him to go higher and to start win leagues is Bayern Munich, and obviously David Alaba is leaving, so they could step in. But Manchester United have more money than Munich to spend at the moment, so it's one of them. It's either those two clubs. So United are in a good position for that player, and if they do get him, then you can be sure that they will start challenging for stuff because he's a very good player, and that's the type of defender they need.
Yeah, staying in the Premier League, Liverpool. I mean, Liverpool have had terrible injury problems and off-field problems this year, but they still managed to be up there. And we've had a lot of rumors that they are seriously planning to do some serious business in January. Can you give us some insight on that?
I don't see them doing serious business. I see them probably going for a centre back the same way as United are, because that's where their issues are. The Matip's out. Gomez is out and Van Dijk's out. So again, they might look for Upamecano and try and go for a bid for him. So there might be some competition there because I know they've looked at him, but they might go for David Alaba. But but the only issue they've got that Upamecano and David Alaba would see is that when Van Dijk and Gomez are fit, are they going to play? So they're a little bit stuck with that because Gomez and Van Dijk are the defenders that Liverpool will want moving forward. So they would look. I reckon they're going to look for a loan deal and a little bit less expensive than those two players, if I'm honest. So they will look for probably a loan deal, or you've got that Kabak, haven't you? So they might look for him. It would be the likely option, because if you're even Mancano and David Alaba, Fred, and you might agree with me, it's just that okay, I'm going to be playing for the 6 months, but what happens when Gomez and Van Dijk comes back? What happens then? So if I was even Mancano and David Alaba, I wouldn't be looking at Liverpool at this point. They will be looking at someone who they think would do a good job and get them by, and still retain those two other players as the first team players. So I can't see over serious business for Liverpool, and they've got such a strong squad anyway. So we'll see what happens with that one. But Liverpool this season haven't been where they have been last season. They're still top of the table. Don't get me wrong. Again, the points tally is still low. So, and that's quite low for them to be on 32 points after 15 games. This is Liverpool we're talking about so we'll see what happens. I just don't see them doing over serious business. But they'll look for a centre back, but it will be a low fee one.
Yeah, so you reckon they'll go for maybe a low profile centre back who basically become a long term backup for
Yeah,
Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez.
something like that. Yeah, it won't be. You're not gonna see Liverpool spend £60 million on a defender when they've already got Van Dijk and Gomez coming back in. That's just silly recruitment.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of months back, I mean, I just want to throw this in because I know a lot of people will be interested in this. Cristiano Ronaldo, possible return to Manchester United. There were a lot of rumblings, but they seem to have settled down now. Do you
Yeah,
think there's still a chance or anything concerning Ronaldo?
I mean, there's a love affair between Ronaldo and Manchester United that hasn't gone away since he's left. So that could always happen. I just think it wouldn't happen until his Juventus deal was up. So I just think it's too early for that one. I know he's 35 years old, but he's a different kind of specimen. So, he's a bit like Ibrahimovic in the sense that he can go up to 40 and still perform at the highest level.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a love affair with Manchester United. So you can't say no to it. I just don't think in this current climate, and there's going to be no Pogba swap with it anyway. That's already been denied, so we can forget about that. I just don't see it at the moment, to be honest, and that's why it's gone quiet.
Yeah. I mean, I
I know a
expected.
lot of United fans want Ronaldo, and I get it, but is it the right choice at the moment? And what Ollie's building, I don't know. You've already got Cavani in there.
Yeah.
You've already got strikers in there, and you've just bought an 18, 19-year-old kid, and you want Sancho. So you can't get every single player. But Ronaldo has already expressed that he wants to stay at Juventus, and he'd be disappointed in a swap deal. So his target is to go to MLS at some point. So he might go for Manchester United for a year before he jumps off to MLS. But let's see. At the end of the season, we might be saying something completely different because he's decided, or Manchester United have decided that they actually want to bring Ronaldo back. That's always on the cards, Fred, because of what he's done for Manchester United previously. So we can never rule that out. No one can tell me and say that's not going to happen, and I can't tell you as a Juventus fan that's not going to happen because I'd be lying. So I just think that it's people that are wishing it rather than as opposed to it happening at the moment.
Okay. I would love Ronaldo back, and I think every Manchester United fan will love him back.
Oh yeah,
With Cavani and possibly Sancho and Amad Diallo, I mean, and
you
Facundo
don't.
Pelestri, it doesn't fit in, to be honest.
You don't. It's a love affair for fans to just have Ronaldo back because they remember the beautiful times of when he was at the club, when they were winning the Champions League, winning the Premier League, and I understand that. And you've had 7 years of pain a little bit since that's happened. So I just think it's people wishful thinking as opposed to the deal happening, because I've not heard anything on the grapevine, or nobody's come to me to say that Ronaldo is 100% going back to Manchester United. But again, we can't rule the deal out because of his connections there. So again, but at the moment, it just doesn't make sense, as you've said.
Yeah. Yesterday, I mean, before the United game versus Wolves, you put a tweet out about Donny van de Beek saying he's had
I was just
discussions with
after,
his
yeah.
agent. I think people might have taken it the wrong way. So can you give us more of an insight of that and what you were trying to say?
So the issue is at the moment is that the agent and Van der Beek, and this is a similar sort of situation as what Ndombele had at with Mourinho and Spurs, is that he's not happy that he's not playing, and that's fine because of the type of player he is, and these type of football players want to play all the time. He expects to play more than he has so far, so because he wants to play, he hasn't expressed that he wants to leave. So don't ever think for a minute I'm telling you that Van der Beek has decided to leave. But what I'm saying is if it doesn't change before the summer, then he might consider his options. But I think that's a little bit of haste from Van der Beek and his agent, because we know that Paul Pogba's going, so the tactics are going to change for United. He will likely become a more of a starter, and what he has to understand is that playing in the Dutch league to the Premier League is a completely different ball game. So he needs to understand and get the grips of how it is, because some games he's been fantastic and some games he hasn't. So he hasn't got the consistency, and that's probably why he's not playing as much. It's just his agent and Van der Beek have sat down with the club to say that they're not happy at the moment, and that's, and I understand why from his point of view. So let's see. I just think that we'll see what happens with that one, and we'll see what happens towards the end of the summer, because if he hasn't played so much throughout the summer, then we know there's an issue there, and we know that Ollie potentially probably didn't want to sign him in the first place. So it could be that changes, but hopefully he stays at the club because he's a quality player. But what my tweet wasn't for him to say, "Oh, he's leaving." It's just that he wasn't happy with the amount of minutes he was playing at the moment, and his agent expressed that concern. That's all.
Yeah. So thanks for clearing that up. I mean, Donny van de Beek, he's a fantastic player. Honestly, from a Manchester United fan's point of view, I'm not too concerned about it, but I'm also a bit concerned, because
Yeah.
sometimes you see that we need Van de Beek on the field. I know he's played a good amount of minutes, but he's not starting games and all that. So it just puts a cloud of judgment on it. But I don't want to go too deep into that because we
I
saw
mean,
that with Fred.
the interesting thing here is, Fred, is that if he was the issue that was, well, until the 93rd minute, but yesterday Manchester United should have had Van der Beek on the pitch, because he has decisive passing. Like, he moves, turns, and that's what they were missing yesterday. So for me, I think that we have to be a little bit cautious to say that, oh, he can start every game. And he needs to be cautious and say, okay, I'm at Manchester United. Look at the club I'm at. I'm at a big club now. I need to press on, and the agent needs to stop talking. And they always do this. The agents talk a lot now, but he needs to just keep pressing on and keep playing, and he will start more games. And Ollie has already said that. So just needs to be a bit patient at the moment, because at the moment the club's the first 11s is changing a little bit, but it's working well. And exactly what you said is that Fred at Manchester United, when he was with Mourinho and a little bit at the start of Ollie, we were just like, well, sell him. The club was, but look at him now. You don't want him not to be in the first 11. So, and Van der Beek should look at that scenario and say, actually, I can get into that kind of position. So, let's see. I think he won't. There's no rumours or no noise to say he was leaving. He was just unhappy. That's all.
Yeah. I
So I
mean,
wouldn't worry too much about that.
in the Discord server yesterday, which you can join, the link will be in the description. You can join our Discord server, the Football League Hub server. Fantastic place where you can have 24/7 chats with United fans, Barcelona fans, Liverpool fans, fans from all over the world, just having chat about football. You said, well, in the Discord, you gave a transfer update in the chat, and you said Jack Grealish, there's a chance that it could happen. in the summer? I know this is the January transfer window, but
I
can you tell
didn't
us a bit?
necessarily, yeah, I didn't necessarily agree. The thing is with Grealish, right, is that personally the ship sailed with that one. Okay, it should have happened last summer, but there's still noise around that deal. So, and people are still saying that Ollie still likes Grealish, but I just can't see where he's going to fit with the current setup of Manchester United. With you've got Donny van der Beek coming in, so at the moment I'm more likely to say no to it. And you're going to get Sancho. I don't see you getting Grealish and Sancho um, in the summer together, or one in the winter. I mean, what I did say is that Grealish wanted to go to Manchester United, so he was keen to go and play for Manchester United because he's secretly supports them. So, but it's too expensive, Fred. If I'm honest, what Villa want to. I mean, he's a quality player. Don't get me wrong, but Villa want 80 million for him. I just don't see Manchester United pulling the trigger on an 80 million player, unless it's Sancho, of course, which is what because that's the type of player they want. So it could happen, but it's unlikely. It's more of the Grealish and the agent would like him to be at Manchester United, as opposed to the club actually going for him, which is a shame because a lot of people talk about in the media that he's the type of player that Manchester United need. He's got that, he picks things up. And look what he's done to Aston Villa this
Yeah,
season. I
yeah,
mean, they're a few points off the top, and that's crazy. From considering last season that they scraped through, they did by VAR.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, look at him now. So, um, he would be. He's Manchester United worthy. If you obviously would probably agree with me in that one. I
yeah,
just think that ship has sailed, but it's more of Grealish wanting to play for Manchester United. But
yeah,
if Aston Villa came down on the price, we might have a deal on our hands. But it's
yeah.
doubtful, isn't it?
I would love Jack Grealish. I think he's a very elegant footballer and a very elegant man, to be honest. But I don't think he fits in what we are trying to do. I think we've got a lot of. I don't think he
Yeah.
can play in the deep line playmaker position. And I think with the likes of Rashford and Bruno, I mean they're almost undroppable. So I don't know how you fit Jack Grealish in there.
No,
But we'll see
I
about
can't
that.
see it. I just can't see it unless you sold, but they're going to sell Pogba and then they're going to sacrifice someone else. I just can't see it. It was I believe it was either Van der Beek or Jack Grealish in last summer, and there was Van der Beek in the end. So I don't see the deal happening, to be honest, which is a shame because I think he would have had more impact on the club,
Yeah,
and he would probably be starting, to be honest, already.
yeah,
So um, he's a type of player that Manchester United should have, but he will get a big club move. He might go to Man City or something like that. So we'll get some more rumours. I can see him moving next summer, though.
yeah. Well, coming to the end of our show, just like the last show, I'm going to throw some quick fire questions at you, Chris. And you basically give the percentage of the deal happening.
I'm going with this again, are we?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So let's start off with Jaden Sancho to Manchester United in January.
No, I don't see it, to be honest. I know that people want me to say that that's happening, but the noise is that it's the summer. The thing is about Dortmund is that they're going to need a replacement, which they've looked at already. So um, I'm going to give you 0%, I'm afraid, because I just don't see Manchester United saying, "Oh well, they spend £100 million in January," when we're still in a COVID crisis. So it's unfortunate. I just don't see him switching, and he's not happy at Dortmund either, Fred, as you know.
Yeah,
So uh, again, if they pull the trigger, they're crazy because they're going to get a better transfer fee if they do it in the summer. But they are in
yeah,
pole position. So I did say 2021, but they are in pole position. So that deal's expected. So United fans can be a little bit relaxed about Sancho, not worry too much. I don't want them to go through all the transfer window expecting Sancho again
yeah.
because that was a nightmare for them before.
Like,
So
yeah,
I don't want them to stress too much. I want them to understand that the summer is where that deal's going to happen. The only issue they've got to do is agree the fee with Dortmund, which Dortmund will be a little bit more receptive because there's less, there's less years on the contract. So United will be in a better position as long as they get top four. I think United fans should relax and just try and enjoy the winter window without stressing on Twitter about Sancho every 5 minutes, because it's painful for them, and I don't want to see them go through that again. So let them. It's going to happen in the summer, so let's just relax on that one.
Yeah. Ozan Kabak to Liverpool.
Yeah. So what about Liverpool?
Ozan Kabak to Liverpool.
Okay, that's the one that I think that's going to happen, like 70-80%. And this is the loan or the small transfer fee that I was talking about, whereas just to cover them for 6 months, which makes sense because he's quite a good defender, to be honest. So Liverpool, he looks like a Liverpool sort of signing, doesn't he? So let's see with that one. I think that one will be a good deal for them, and Liverpool obviously favourites to win the league, as you know. So that should cover them through the end of the season, and then they will be back to normal next year. And there's probably going to be a big sale for Liverpool in the summer, which I'll touch on later on, but it's not confirmed yet.
Yeah, I mean, a centre back to Manchester United in January. I don't want to mention any centre back because it looks like we are just dipping our hands into the water as
it's
a
too
club.
early.
Yeah, but do you think there's a high chance of a centre back joining Manchester United?
Oh yeah, I mean they've already got their targets. So they wanted Upamecano in last summer. So you can't tell me that they won't go for Upamecano in the winter period. They might pay a little bit extra than the release clause just to get the player, and that will suit the club he's currently playing at. That's who United are linked to at the moment, is that player, which is good news for them. But it's going to be tricky in the winter period. As I said, going back, the transfer fees, there's not going to be big transfer fees. So let's 50-50 with which centre back they go for. There's been mention of Johnny Evans, which is very strange, but there has been a bit of noise about that in the last few days. But let's see. I see them getting a top quality centre back for next season ready anyway. So United will be strong next season for sure.
Yeah. Moises Caicedo to Manchester United.
I'll give you 80% on that one, Fred, because that deal just needs the work permit sorted, and then they're in pole position, and the player wants to go and the agent doesn't. Normally that's a quick deal when that happens. So the club is happy to sell that player, and good luck to him at Manchester United. It looks like another quality signing. So if I was a Manchester United fan, I'd be quite excited with the kind of players they're bringing in at the moment. It's looking pretty tasty. And those people that play Football Manager, I'm sure they'll enjoy all those wonder kids that are coming at United. So it's an interesting time for Manchester United in terms of the players that they're bringing in. It's a new kind of way. And Ferguson used to do this, so Ollie is kind of the cut from the same bread in that sort of thing. So let's see.
Isco to Arsenal.
I'll give that 70%. The wipe, for him to reignite his career for the 6 months, it's a good place for him to go. Arteta is the kind of style play that he wants to play. Isco has always said that he wanted to play in the Premier League, so this is his chance, really. So he would be an interesting signing as well. But Spurs might even look at him because Spurs, Dele Alli's looking like he's going to PSG. Spurs could do with a nice little cam in there as well, but they're looking at that other player as well. So he's looking in the Premier League, and Arsenal look the right setup for him. But early days with Isco, where that's happening at the moment, we're going to hear more rumours around it. I'm sure in the first week of January, it's going to go off like a balloon.
Yeah, well, that brings us to the end of the second Football League Hub podcast. It's been an awesome podcast. We'll be having more podcasts throughout the course of the January transfer window. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter. The link will be in the description, and you can join our Discord server. The link will be in the description. Chris, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just looking ahead for the winter period. Obviously, the episodes are going to come through thick and fast, and we've got a few plans for some of the episodes, and you're going to see a lot of transfers. All I'll say is that we'll be looking at confirmed transfers and dispelling some of the rumors that are coming on. And although I'll give you some advice that when you're on Twitter and you're looking through the winter period, is that take some of the transfer news with a pinch of salt from the media and some of the Twitter channels that you're seeing on the handles, because most of the deals are going to be false. So don't have too many expectations in the winter period. But what we will do in the Discord and the Twitter is release confirmed transfer deals or confirmed ones that are looking likely, as opposed to rumors, because we don't want to give you any false hope. So it'll be an interesting winter period, but don't expect it to be like the last few winters. It's not going to be the same. So going to be a lot of loan deals. We're talking about a lot of loan deals. We'll be having weekly catch-ups about transfer win and what's happened in that week and those sort of things.
Yeah. So thank you for that, Chris. And remember, link for the Discord and Twitter in the description. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you, guys. Take care.